Hello, friends. Welcome to this extra episode of Thought Shots. I know it's a Saturday, and I know you're probably getting ready to party. That is why I'm uploading this episode a little earlier than normal, so that your evening party may not stop. We've been talking of productivity for the last 3 episodes. This is the final and fourth one. And in this concluding episode on productivity, we shall look at some of the tips and tools that are available to improve your efficiency and thereby your productivity. While these tips and tools are not in any order of importance and preference, they are all tools that will definitely help you to become more productive and improve your efficiency. Look at all the tools, study them in depth, and at least in my case, I found that the best tool is not one of those that is readily available. And I have formed my own tool. You can call it the Hemant Shah's tool for improving my productivity and efficiency and output. Look at all of them, see which component of what tool works for you, depending on your mindset, depending on your goals, depending on the organization and the circumstances in which you are working. And either use one of them or create one for yourself. So, what do you need to remember when you select a tool or devise your own tool? One of the first things to remember in such a situation is that the tool that you use or the tool that you create, the system that you create for your own use, should help you to work smarter and not harder. Because working harder is not the key to being very productive. It is working smarter. Because when you work smarter, you're doing more things in less time. And as we discussed in the last chapter, efficiency is the effort or the work result that you get divided by the time spent. By creating a tool or using one of the tools, you have to remember that you should, in any tool that you have a systematic approach to getting your tasks completed efficiently and without wasting time. That is why I said your tool should make you work smarter, not harder. So let's start looking at some of the tools that are available and study them properly. And maybe you'll find the right one for you, or the combination of one or more or two or three with your own subroutines put in. Yes, you have to put on your thinking cap and create it and make something that is going to help you to consistently outperform yourself. It's not about comparing with anybody else. It's about you comparing yourself with you. The first tool I would like to mention in this episode is the Kanban. The Kanban is one of the most popular tools, predominantly, mainly because of its visual appeal and ease of use. The Kanban gives you a graphic visual look, dekho, at what are the tasks that are to be done, what are in progress, what are completed. And it's very easy to use. And therefore, it is by far the most important, well, not the most important, I would say, but definitely the most popular tool and method that is used by people. Now, what is Kanban about? Kanban is basically about dividing all the tasks you have into three main categories. The first is what are the things that you have to do and what are the things that are there in your backlog, which needs to be addressed, to-do and backlog items. They need to be addressed right away. Either it's a backlog or when it is there in your to-do list, it needs to be addressed. If you're prioritized right, all the better. You know easily what you need to address first. And it also shows you which are the tasks that are already in progress and on which work is being done. And if you use Kanban properly, you can even mark out who is doing what. Okay, so it shows you in progress and active tasks. And it also shows you which are the tasks that are completed. Maybe partially if you've broken up that big task into small subtasks. So you'll be able to track the progress of any task that you've got. This splitting up is a very important part because that will help you to identify small bottlenecks that come your way. Okay, and therefore address them very easily and without waste of time. The challenge with Kanban is that it is not very scalable. And especially when you are doing multi-level projects, at that time, Kanban becomes a difficult way of organizing and getting higher productivity. Okay, so, but all said and done, this is definitely the most popular tool that you have. The second one is a tool that we've spoken of when we were talking of productivity and time management, is Eat the Frog. I like this. In the morning, you're fresh, your mind is clear. You probably have not started getting into your social media and phone call scenario. That's why I suggest you wake up early before everybody and don't take your phone as soon as you wake up. So basically, Eat the Frog, as we said, is get the most difficult and most important tasks attended to first thing in the morning. So normally that early morning work period is somewhere where you can do deep work without too much effort. So get it done first thing in the morning. Now, the advantage of this is first thing, important critical things are now out of the way. The rest of the day will seem very easy. Okay. And, those tasks that are there, but they are not like what you did in the morning. So having gone through the morning routine, so to say, the rest of the day will look like a cakewalk. But often this leaves you exhausted, and sometimes early in the morning, because doing those complicated, important tasks can tire you. Okay. So at the start of the day itself, unless you are in the right mindset and unless you're a determined person saying, okay, let me get this out of my way, then Eat the Frog works extremely well. Another thing which we've all been talking about, which we've talked about at some time or the other, and which everybody recommends, is setting SMART goals. Your goals should be specific. They should be measurable. They should definitely be achievable. If a goal is not achievable, break it down into sub-goals which are achievable. They should be relevant in the sense that that goal is going to help you reach your bigger goal in life, and it should be time-bound. You cannot set a goal that can be done whenever and possible and able. No. Okay. So the advantage of setting SMART goals and having them properly set on with prioritization in your to-do list, it forces you to every morning realize what you need to do on that particular day. And once you follow that religiously, you're going to always do things that are necessary on time. It helps you to measure the progress and the success at the end of the day of any task that is there on your to-do list. The challenge here, the way SMART goals work in a normal category, is that it does not identify the conflicts that might be there between various goals or various tasks that have been set up. And this could lead to a lot of stress due to the time-bound nature. Okay, because if somebody is faltering, or if you yourself are faltering, but there is a time-bound definition of the amount of time you can use for that task, it can lead to stress. You're stressed out, I have to finish, I have to finish, I have to finish. So that is one of the challenges of setting smart goals. Another goal which I love and I use all the time as one of the components of my to-do method or my efficiency productivity method is the time blocking method. Okay. I've discussed this extensively in the episode on I think 5th of August. And therefore, I'm not going to get into the details of this, but please listen to the 5th August episode if you want to know. Then there is similar like the Kanban. There is the must, should, and want method. Okay. Must means tasks that you have to do. There is no escaping those. The should or need are again important tasks that if you don't complete, you're going to fall back on a bigger goal or a bigger project. And want to do are tasks you enjoy doing. Yeah, I know you'll want to tackle that first, but no, you need to tackle them in this order. Must do, need to do, or should do, and then the want to do tasks. So this is the MSW, must, should, want method. And then we have the action method. Basically, action method is get onto it. Identify a task, divide it into steps by which you will reach that completion, and then start acting on them straight away. Okay, this is very easy. And if you have references and data, it is a very good way of doing things. And then the Pomodoro technique. I use this often, though not as often as I would like to really, which is that 25 and 5 method, 25 minutes of work, 5-minute break that we talked of again on August 5th. So in this method, what you really need to remember is that there are times when you will use 2 Pomodoros for one task, but it doesn't require that 50 minutes. So you finish the task in say 40 minutes. Now the 10-minute gap that you have to make sure that you use it productively. And 10 minutes may not always be enough to start the next task, but there may be some other task which is just a small task and you'll be able to finish it. So that Pomodoro technique, you need to remember this. And in that free time, generally, and this is what I do very often, is that I will take up a task which will effectively free some time for me on the next day. Because that day I have already set my Pomodoros. And if I do everything as per the Pomodoro, I'm going to be successful in achieving my day's goals. So I try to do something the next day. In fact, if I get 2 gaps in today's Pomodoros, and in 2 gaps, I can finish one of the tasks next day, I have a whole Pomodoro left for me to do what I want in the next day. And another thing you need to remember when using any method, but especially in this method, is that when you are tired, when you are unmotivated, when you are not motivated, or when there is tremendous stress, that 25-minute Pomodoro, you might be wasting a lot of time. So you need to be able to recognize your own fatigue, your own stress levels, and your own motivations to reschedule that Pomodoro. At that time, don't do one of the must or should do things, but do one of the want to things, which will freshen you up and which you will enjoy doing. And then there is the get it done. Just do it method. Okay. Basically, it's a 5-step process. The first is capture. You capture a task you have to do, you note it down and list it in your to-do list. The second is clarify. Define what is the outcome that you want from the task and what is the process that you're going to follow to get that task done. Then we come to organize. Now you have a to-do list, which is well defined with what the tasks are that you need to do, which are the steps that you are going to follow because you have defined the outcome and the process. Now you organize it based on your priorities and importance, as we always do. And then reflect. Reflect on the accuracy of your process and whether you are going to get the required outcome. Reflect before the task and reflect after completing the task, because that after analysis is what will prepare you better for the next round of setting up your goals. And then at the end of the day, engage. Once you have done all the 4 steps of capture, clarify, organize, and reflect, engage. Just do it. I think Nike's got it so well. Huh? Just do it. And then a method I love and I use practically every single day is the Eisenhower matrix. Again, we discussed this in the episode on 5th August. I don't need to go into the details of it, but please revisit that episode. Understand clearly, maybe Google, maybe use other things, but find out in detail what the Eisenhower matrix is all about and do it. Now, as I said a little earlier, maybe any single method is not good enough or not best for you. And based on your requirement, your position within the organization, your personal habits, how you get stressed, how you feel fresh, whatever, devise a hybrid tool and a system that works best for you. I can't emphasize this enough because of the many people with whom I have worked on productivity, I have found that very, very few people can use just one tool and become super efficient. But by using a combination and by putting in small things that are unique to them, they do get to that level. But overall, you need to remember that no matter what tool you use or whether it's an old or your own devised system or tool, you need to automate as much as possible. It is a big time saver. And, it literally nullifies the dependency on someone's memory or actions. Okay. Automation will automatically add that task to your list or show whatever is needed to be done. So automate. Do a personal energy and focus audit. I have found so many cases where people are constantly overestimating the energy that they can put into work and the focus. I know people who could focus for barely 40, 45 minutes with full deep work concentration. And they used to slot 2 hours for a focused task. And at the end of the day, they would always not complete the task because the time is not enough and they could not focus and deliver what they wanted. And this is true, especially when working with teams. When your team member does not deliver, you get into a problem. Your productivity suffers. So there are many instances where I have seen that people employ more people thinking more will get done. But that is not always true. Okay. There are times when a smaller team is better. And especially in the case of startups. And especially in the case, please listen to this, the company for whom I'm going to do a follow-up on this on next Saturday. Remember that your focus and your concentration is important. But your team members' focus and concentration also affects yourself. And therefore, I have constantly suggested pretty much against what many people think is the right thing to do, to let people who have the efficiency, who have the competency to do multiple tasks. Like it's a simple thing like analyzing a financial report. Do you really need to employ somebody to do just that? Or even if it's the CEO, forget, I don't care about what is his title or what is his designation. Can he do it? It's not a big task. It's going to take maybe an hour to just analyze the report and say whether this is working well or not. Why do I need to employ a person for that? So you need to remember this. And as I said, automate. When you automate, all these resources are better allocated. And that allocation itself is great as the starting point of being more productive. And when you're using these automation tools or apps or websites, when you are a bigger team, especially, by bigger, I mean anything above even 5. try to use the pro versions of that tool. It gives you much more. And once you have more people, that additional facilities, that additional options that the pro tool gives you become indispensable. Okay. And I believe that when you create teams, I believe in the Parkinson's law. 20% of your people will do 80% of the work. 80% of your people will do 20% of the work. Can that 80 be reduced to 60 and still get 20% done? So believe in the Parkinson's law. If there's any small task which takes a minute or two or something, don't schedule it. You spend more time scheduling it and defining it and everything. Just do it at that time. And any time you're making a schedule, remember 4 things that you need to follow. The first is, if the task is important, but somebody else can do it, delegate it. If it is not important, if it is not necessary, delete it. If it can wait, defer it. But if none of these categories work, do it then and then. So this 4D method is very important. I hope this has been great for you. Look forward to hearing your comments. Have a great weekend, the half of it that is left. And I'll see you again on Monday. Thank you very much. Have a good day.